What's up, everybody? This is Blue Lightning back with another guide and analysis. Okay, so we're doing Ogdoadic. For those of you that don't know, this is a light and dark deck. Snakes that are light and dark. They are based off of the 8 primordial beings of ancient Egypt, of waters, I think. I don't know much about the background, just what I've heard. But let's get started. Let's start off with the boss monster. This guy is really strong. Ogdoadic Abyss. Once while he's on the field, you can send all monsters on the field to the grave. You can tribute 3 monsters to special him from the grave. So he's a way to get around, like an all or nothing. Like he's a good way to get around a lot of cards that can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. And then we have the newest one. I don't know how to pronounce some of these names. So this is like the monster reborn for this deck. If a monsters is sent from the field or from the hand, if a monsters is sent from the hand or deck to the grave, you can special this from the deck, or not from the deck, from the grave. It also locks you into reptiles. And being that it's light and dark reptiles, you can also throw chaos monsters and a chaos engine in it. Amanessa and Aaron, King and Queen. They each have their own effects. You can tribute 2 monsters to special both of them. Amanessa. If a monsters is special to your opponent from your opponent's grave, you can send a card they control to the grave. If a monsters is sent from your opponent's hand or deck to the grave, you can special 1 light or dark reptile monster from your grave. Aaron does the same thing, except he adds. So you basically get to rip an opponent's card. I honestly think the Queen of Amanessa is better than the King. These two, I don't know how to pronounce their names. This, you contribute a monster to special these from grave. This guy adds banished back. This lets you special a level 4 lower reptile or Ogdoadic monster from your grave. Your opponent gets to do the same thing, but it negates your opponent's monster's effects. Nunu, you can discard Nue or Nuva. You can discard both of these to get the opposite attribute. Nunu, when you control an Ogdoadic monster or no monsters, it specials itself from grave, but banishes it when it leaves field. This is your spell and trap searcher when it's normal or specialed. Flogos, and I don't know how to pronounce that, but they also have their own effects. So Flogos, this is sent from the field to the grave or specialed from the deck. Specialed from the grave, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls of 1 monster in their grave with an equal or higher attack than that target special that monster from the grave to their field. And if you do send the other monster they control to the grave, if this card is in the grave, you can send 1 monster from your hand to the grave and add this card to your hand. So it sends another troublesome monster if they have one, and it adds itself back to the hand. This guy, he lets you draw a card, and he lets you add an Ogdoadic monster from your deck to your hand. Then each player sends a card from their hand to the grave. If this card's in the grave, you can send, it also adds itself back. Ogdoadic Origin, probably one of the best field spells they've ever created. If a face-up reptile monsters you control is destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you can target a monster your opponent controls and send it to grave. If this card is in the field zone and is destroyed by opponent's card effect, you can send cards from the top of your opponent's deck to the grave equal to the number of reptile monsters with different names in your grave. So this mills your opponent out while basically sending their monsters to grave. And notice sending, not destroying. Ogdoadic Water Lily. You can send a reptile monster to the grave. And then if you have 5 or more reptiles in your grave, you can special summon a reptile. And it can be any reptile. This is the monster reborn for the deck. Ogdoadic Serpent Strike, one of the new spells. You can send one monster from your hand or field to the grave and then target a reptile monster from your grave with a different original attribute than that monster and special summon it. During the main phase of a monster you sent to your opponent's grave, you can send a reptile monster from. So this lets you dump as well as special like Swarm Field. Ogdoadic Daybreak. This isn't a bad card. It summons a token by you tributing a reptile monster for every 2 levels it had. You special a token. What's good about this card is it lets you recover your banished reptile monsters. So essentially you want to run 2 to 3 to recur your effects, not effects but your monsters. And then Ogdoadic Calling. This lets you summons 2 tokens too. And if you have 8 or more Ogdoadic monsters in your grave with different attribute or different names, you can special summon 2 reptile monsters with different names. So this is also a trap monster reborn, trap form. They also have another trap that's called Ogdoadic Hollow or something. I forgot what it does honestly, but it's not really good. This deck is really good. This is but a lot of weaknesses to this deck is it gets shut down by like Gravekeepers on Necro Valley, cards that stop Graveyard is what, and Light and Shadow and Prisoning Mirrors will shut this deck completely down. So you got to be careful when using this deck. But that's it for the guide and analysis for Ogdoadics. Hit like and subscribe. Catch you on the flip side.